Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for your time. Thank you, Lighting Systems, so much. I really appreciate you inviting me to be in this call with your valued customers. And my name is Rob Aronchick. I am one of the owners of ARON Lighting. We are a family-owned lighting manufacturer based outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we do all of our lighting fixture design. Everything you see today is our own concepts. We do all of our manufacturing and assembly. So if you do have any BAA or BABA projects where you're looking for compliant lighting products, please keep us in mind where you think we could be a good fit. So with that being said, ARON Lighting, if you know us or if you don't know us, we're a lighting company that really embraces the ceiling grid. We think of innovative form factors, high-performing fixtures, innovative edge-lit optical systems that allows you as a specifier to redefine the way that you can think of lighting integration into grid ceilings. So with that being said, I thought what I could do is breeze through some of our current product families, and I think it'll give you a really good idea as to why we have thought of or designed current products that I really wanted to focus on that integrates lighting into acoustics as well. The Duo T-Bar is a very nice replacement for 2x2s and 2x4s. It straddles a ceiling grid or sits right on top of any ceiling grid, any ceiling lighting, any ceiling grid manufacturer. Creates a very clean look in the ceiling. So think about it for corridors, open office spaces, those type of spaces where you're looking for something different than troffers. You can do continuous runs. You can do cross formations, which is a really nice 4x4 fixture that you can also connect to other crosses. So we see a lot of different RCPs with this type of fixture. Let me know if you have any questions about it. We do have a recessed slot fixture, very ultra shallow form factor, 1.8 inches in height. So think of those crowded plenum applications when you're looking for a certain type or certain form factor of a recessed slot fixture. We do have a really neat downlight family called the Quad, and it uses the grid. It doesn't avoid the grid. So it drops at the intersection of the T-bar. You don't have to reconstruct the T-bar at all. It just sits on an existing grid. And it's modular, so you can specify 1, 2, 3, or 4 quadrants with different lensing options. Here's a nice render of what I'm talking about with 4s and 3s and 2s and 1s. Very nice corridor fixture, lobby fixture, sort of those areas where you're looking to do something different and unique. Different control options, RGBW, different lensing, so a very versatile fixture. Then we do have a surface mount fixture, again, all centered around T-grid ceilings that you can surface mount, 1-inch light fixture to the grid, any type of grid, any ceiling manufacturer. We can do corners, long continuous runs, so it's a really nice, versatile fixture that you can use in any sort of pattern or direction along the ceiling grid with some different lensing options, a 3-sided lens like you see here. Wood slat ceilings, we can put the fixture right in between wood slats. You do have a direct only lens for more directional light. You can suspend the fixture, and then we have a wall wash option. So again, very versatile fixture if you're looking for a surface mount option. And what you just saw there is, again, all embracing the grid, centered around innovative form factors around the ceiling grid, where it's not just a white good type market anymore for you. You have different options in for different spaces. And when we were thinking about how do we take this to the next level, how do we do something again different around a 2x2 or 2x4 opening, we thought of the loft fixture. And the loft fixture creates angles, it creates dimension, it elevates the ceiling grid, it provides you with a lot of different options. Again, a very versatile fixture, a very fun fixture to use, and a very kind of aesthetically pleasing fixture for the end user. So in terms of configuration options, we have 2x2s, 2x4s, 1x4s. I'm not showing here a 4x4 fixture option, but we can do this in a 4x4. And you have lighting options in terms of light engines. You can do a single light engine, which you see on the right-hand side or the far left-hand side as in the 2x4. It's an edge-lit optical system. So you're getting very uniform illumination, and you're getting a slightly asymmetric throw, but you're getting reflection off the ceiling tile, and then you're also getting light output straight down with our optical system. So it's not a true wall wash, but you are getting a little bit more of a Lambertian type of distribution with this fixture. And again, it's very versatile. You can orient the fixture in different ways. I'll show you some pictures in just a second. But again, you have a 2x2 or a 2x4 or 1x4. And then with the double light engine, you have a very symmetric Lambertian distribution, very wide distribution, up to 1,500 lumens per foot. So on the single-sided, that means 3,000 lumens out of the 2x2, or if you do a double light engine, that'd be 6,000 lumens out of the 2x2. Color temperatures, 2700K, 3000, 3500K, 4000K, 80 or 90 CRI. You can do tunable white. So a lot of different color options. In terms of the installation process of the fixture, very, very simple installation process. The fixture comes fully assembled, drops into any standard ceiling grid, flat grid, dimensional grid, 15/16, 9/16, really any grid manufacturer. We're totally fine with that, or the fixture's fine with that. And then your ceiling panel lays right on top. We can provide a ceiling panel, which I'll get to in just a second, or you can use a standard ceiling tile that you've specified for the rest of the project. So an Armstrong panel, a USG panel, a CertainT panel, any panel will lay right on top that we don't have to provide with the loft fixture. Very nice source of indirect lighting. So think healthcare in a corridor, and you want to indirectly light a corridor so that if your patient is lying, getting pushed through the corridor, that they're not looking straight up at a light fixture. In a private office, you have your private office spaces where you're looking to reduce glare, you're looking to reduce any sort of visibility of the light source. This does a really nice job of being able to do that in conference rooms, in lobby areas, in so many different areas. And then you're creating about a 3.5-inch lift on the ceiling at that highest level, at that highest angle. It's about 3.5 inches high. Very versatile fixture, as I've mentioned. So you can put the light guides or the light engines back to back, as you see here, right in the middle of the room, or rotate the fixture and you have your wall angle, let's say, in the perimeter of a room, and your light engine can sit right in that wall angle, throwing light into the middle of the space. So again, a very nice, versatile fixture. You're creating, one designer said, it seems like we're creating a cove without having to build a cove in a grid ceiling. Which I thought was a really neat way to think about it. We see a lot of different design opportunities or lighting layouts with this fixture. We see kitchen areas, conference rooms, open office spaces, private offices, a lot of different areas. Maybe there's amenity areas where you're thinking, let's do something other than our standard linears, our standard 2x2s. Or even our standard downlights. Let's just do something different in those areas. And now we can integrate acoustics as well. You can also custom color the fixture. So you have greens, reds, we can match an RAL. The picture on the right, the designer had the backsplash in this kitchen area with this red tile, sent us the RAL. We were able to match it with our powder coater and sent the fixtures out fully colored, and it looks great. So we can customize the color if that's the sort of look that you're going for. And then integrating your acoustics. So it's a big story that we've developed here with a company called FACT Design, and that's spelled FACT. It stands for Folding Acoustic Ceiling Tiles. They're a company based out of Tennessee, and they have a whole bunch of different panel options for the infill panel for the loft. So you can specify colors, you can specify patterns, you can specify dimensional panels. And all of that is on our cut sheets. All that is on our website in terms of what type of panels can go into the loft. Now, that said, like I said before, you don't necessarily have to have ARON Lighting provide a panel. Any standard panel can fit right on top of the fixture, but it creates a really nice look with the different colors. It creates warmth in the space. And then also you're integrating your acoustics. The NRC level is 0.85 with these FACT panels, so a very highly acoustic panel. It's for sound absorption. And then the tile that you're seeing adjacent to the loft fixtures is a panel called Wink. that's produced by Fact Design. And it's a very nice complementary tile that marries really well with the loft fixture. That opposite angle that's going down out of the grid is the same angle as the tile that's laying inside of the loft fixture. So really nice complementary tile that, that Fact Design has here with the loft fixture. So as you can see here in this picture, makes for a really nice pairing in educational facilities. As you can see on the left-hand side, you can suspend the loft fixture as well. So you can recess it or you can suspend it, and you still have that acoustical element inside of the loft fixture. And then, as I mentioned before, Fact has a bunch of different patterns in their tiles that lays nicely into the loft fixture and then can sit adjacent to the loft fixture, and we can backlight those panels as well that I'll get into in a second. So that brings me to the slot fixture, which when you think about baffles, you probably think of open ceilings. You think of long linear runs of baffles, baffles lit or unlit, and you really don't necessarily think about using baffles in grid. But we took a totally different approach. We said, well, why not? This is a great opportunity if you have a cloud ceiling or a conference room and you're looking to integrate different types of acoustics in those type of spaces as well, that we created or we designed with Fact a 2x2 or 2x4 lay-in baffle. And the story is so great how it installs. I'll show you this in a second, but it's a super easy install as well for the contractor. You have 3 baffle heights. You have a 6-inch, or 3-inch, a 6-inch, and a 9-inch, and you have different configuration options. You have straight or diagonal, different lensing options. So you have regressed, flush, drop-down lens, or louver. So 4 different lensing options. Installation. The baffle comes with the tile. The contractor simply lays the tile right into the grid. We provide the remote kit that quick connects into the light fixture or into the baffle, and the install is very, very seamless and simple for the contractor. Couldn't be easier. So conference rooms, open office spaces, cloud ceilings, so many different ways to integrate this type of light fixture into different spaces. Again, as I mentioned, different baffle heights. You have your cloud grid ceilings. I see these all the time. I see the cloud grid ceiling, and how do I integrate my lighting? How do I integrate my acoustics? What can I do that's neat and different? This is a really great way to do that. Again, you can specify lit or unlit. We can do 1,000 lumens per foot, all the different color options, RGBW, tunable white. Here's the diagonal, again, different colors. So all the different colors are available. You can have a baffle color different than your tile color. So maybe you want a dark gray baffle and a light gray tile. Totally fine in terms of that customization. And then you can have your lighting go through multiple baffles. So here what you're seeing are 3-inch and 6-inch and 9-inch baffles. So obviously your lowest or your tallest baffle height can accommodate, any sort of pass-through of light fixtures if you have multiple baffles and you're doing this sort of configuration. So a really neat way to continue your line of light through multiple tiles. So that's the slot fixture. And then what we did with Fact is we looked at their whole portfolio of tiles. And when they're out with interior designers, specifiers just like yourself, the question comes up 10 out of 10 times. How do I integrate my lighting into your really nice, really innovative, really cool, neat design tiles? Does the contractor have to cut a hole into the tile and integrate the light? What can we do? So we work with Fact to integrate a lighting module into a lot of their different tiles, and we call it Flood. And what's nice is for their flat tiles, it's a way to integrate a trimless, clean downlight into an acoustical panel. So you have a 2-inch, a 4-inch, and an 8-inch aperture size module, a flush or slightly regressed, and a 2-inch regressed module as well, so different regressed options. And then you have shape options. You have round, you have square, and custom. But as you can see on the left-hand side, the installation is so easy. Regardless of the tile or the aperture size or the shape, everything comes fully built. So the contractor, again, just drops the tile into the grid, and then with the quick connect, powers on the fixture. So installation is very simple in terms of the whole sort of kit, if you will. And then you can do multiples in tiles. So you have 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5 or 6s with the different aperture sizes, except for the 8-inch. You can do this with the 2-inch or the 4-inch. And then I thought I could just run through a few of their tiles where you can integrate some of the lighting. This is their blocks tile. So this tile drops below the grid. It's a really neat kind of three-dimensional tile that frames the grid, if you will. And then again, you can integrate the 8-inch, 4-inch, or 2-inch aperture in the tile. So you get a really neat look like this in the ceiling, or like this. This is the brute tile. So this is a coffered tile, sort of like a coffered ceiling that drops below the grid. And again, you can integrate your lighting into that tile. We can do up to 2,000 lumens out of the 8-inch, about 1,500 lumens out of the 4-inch and the 2-inch. So we can get a lot of light out of the different apertures. And here's the round in the brute. Then there's the flow tile. So this is a nice kind of bordered, light fixture here with their flow tile. And they have different infill colors. And then you can integrate your lighting. We can do RGBW with our LED boards. So if you want to match a color with the lighting, that we can do that with flow. And then, as I mentioned, FACT has a whole lot of different pattern tiles so that we can backlight. So they have fractal designs, or they have just different type of patterns that they router cut into their different tiles. They can do custom as well, minimum up to 1 tile. So we've done some projects where it's a school logo up in the ceiling in a tile, and we backlight that logo. So there's some really neat customization that you can do as well. So I think that, as you can see, everybody, we really embrace the grid. We have a whole lot of non-acoustical fixtures that utilize the grid in a really unique way. And then we have come up with a lot of acoustical options where we've integrated the lighting with different types of acoustical panels to provide a very clean, very seamless, very innovative way to integrate your lighting into these acoustical type of panels. And that completes my presentation. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm going to turn it over to Sarah, who will field any questions that you have. Thank you so much.